Inside the sacred walls of the Vatican, something powerful was happening. The Catholic Church, a spiritual home to over 1 billion people, had come together to make a decision that would change its future. The cardinals, dressed in red robes, had gathered in the Sistine Chapel. It was not just a meeting, it was a sacred event filled with silence, prayers, and quiet hope. Their task was clear: to choose the next pope. This choice was not only about leadership, it was about faith, direction, and the soul of the Church. It was about finding the right shepherd to guide a global flock through a complex and ever-changing world. Then, on the 30th of April 2025, something extraordinary happened. As the sun hovered above Rome, thousands of people stood in St. Peter's Square. They waited with eyes lifted toward the chimney above the chapel. Then it happened. White smoke began to rise, a symbol so simple, yet so full of meaning. The people gasped. Tears welled in the eyes of some. Phones came out to record the moment. Strangers hugged. The bells of St. Peter's Basilica rang joyfully across the Vatican. The moment had arrived. Habemus Papam. We have a pope. The name that followed was unexpected to many. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, the humble Archbishop of Manila, had been chosen. He would now be known as Pope Louis I, a name not seen before in the long history of the Church, and a man whose roots were far from Rome. Born in the Philippines, raised in faith and service, Pope Louis I stepped onto the world stage with a gentle smile and eyes filled with purpose. This was not just a moment in Church history. It was a new beginning, a sign that something fresh and hopeful was blooming. Inside the Sistine Chapel, the decision had not been easy. It never is. The process of electing a pope is secret, deep, and solemn. The 135 cardinals who gathered there came from every corner of the world. Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas. They all had a voice. They were not allowed to speak to anyone outside. They prayed, they reflected, they voted. And every vote was more than a slip of paper. It was a prayer that the Holy Spirit would guide their hands, their thoughts, and their hearts. Many names were whispered as possible popes, but the name of Cardinal Tagle came up again and again. He was known for his humility, his kindness, and his strong faith. He was not loud, he did not seek power, he served with a quiet strength that moved people. When the votes were counted and the smoke turned white, it became clear that something special had taken place. The Church had chosen a shepherd who knew how to listen, how to love, and how to lead with compassion. When Cardinal Jean-Louis Tauran stepped onto the balcony and announced the name of the new pope, a hush fell over the square. Then came the cheers, the clapping, the crying, and the celebration. It was a moment that united people of all backgrounds, all languages, and all hopes. For the first time in centuries, a pope had been chosen from Asia. And not just any man, Luis Antonio Tagle, now Pope Louis I. His story is one of service. Raised in the Philippines, a country filled with deep Catholic faith, he grew up close to the people. He knew their joys, their struggles, their faith. He was not distant. He walked among them. He prayed with them. He listened to their stories. Even as he rose in rank and earned doctorates in theology and canon law in Rome, he never lost touch with the ordinary person. As Archbishop of Manila, he spoke out for the poor, the broken, and the voiceless. He reminded people that faith must be lived, not just spoken. Now as Pope, he carries the hopes of millions. From the streets of Manila to the hills of Africa, from Latin America to Europe, his election sparked joy. In his home country, people danced in the streets. Fireworks lit the sky. Children waved flags. Elders bowed their heads in prayer. It was not just about pride. It was about feeling seen, heard, represented. He was not just a religious leader to them. He was family. Across Latin America, his rise brought energy and joy. Across Africa, his humility gave comfort. In the global south, where the Catholic Church is growing the fastest, his election was a sign that the Church was truly global, truly listening. His name became a symbol of hope. His face became a light in the darkness. But with joy also comes great responsibility. Pope Francis, his beloved predecessor, left behind a powerful legacy. He was a pope of the people. He walked among the poor. He kissed the feet of prisoners. He opened the church's arms to those who had long felt left out. He spoke boldly on climate change, justice, and mercy. He was not perfect, but he was deeply loved. Now Pope Louis XI must carry that torch. He must lead the church forward in a world full of challenges. There are divisions within and outside the church. There are cries for change, for healing, for truth. The world is facing problems like poverty, war, climate disasters, and growing loneliness. People are losing trust in institutions. Many feel disconnected from their faith. And yet there is hope. Because Pope Louis XI is not stepping into this role with pride or fear. He is stepping in with prayer, humility, and a servant's heart. Those who know him say he has a gift for bringing people together, for listening before speaking, for leading with both strength and gentleness, and for reminding the church that its first mission is love. His papacy began not with grand speeches, but with a quiet promise to be a father to all, a brother to the broken, and a guide for the journey. He wants the church to be a home for everyone, young and old, rich and poor, lost and found. He believes that the church must go to the edges, to the streets, to the forgotten places, just as Jesus did. Already his messages have touched the hearts of the youth. Many young Catholics see him as someone who understands them, someone who listens, someone who cares. He uses simple words. He uses social media not for fame, but for faith. He shares prayers, thoughts, and stories that help people feel close to God again. In a time when many young people feel lost, Pope Louis XI is a light. But his mission will not be easy. The church faces deep questions. How should it respond to issues of gender and the role of women? How can it help people who feel unwelcome because of past wounds? How does it stay true to its roots while being open to the future? These are not simple questions, but Pope Louis XI is not afraid of them. He sees them as moments for reflection, growth, and grace. He believes in walking together, not forcing, not dividing, but building bridges. He often says that the church must be like a field hospital, ready to heal the wounded, comfort the broken, and bring hope to those who have none. He sees the church not as a palace of power, but as a home of peace. And the world is watching, not just Catholics, people of all faiths, people of no faith. Everyone is looking to see what kind of leader Pope Louis XI will be. Will he continue the work of Pope Francis? Will he bring new energy to the church? Will he listen to the cries of the earth and the poor? Will he help heal the divisions in our world? Only time will tell, but his first steps have given reason for hope. In a time of noise, he speaks with calm. In a time of anger, he offers peace. In a time of fear, he brings courage. His presence is a reminder that leadership rooted in humility can change hearts. That faith rooted in love can still move mountains. The church is at a crossroads, and so is the world. But with Pope Louis XV at the helm, there is a sense that something beautiful is beginning. A new chapter, a new dawn, one led by a man who carries the hopes of many, the prayers of the faithful, and the quiet strength of one who walks with God. His election was not just a moment in history, it was a sign, a reminder that the Holy Spirit still moves in the hearts of people, that grace still flows, that even in a divided world unity is possible, and that the church, when led by love, can still shine bright. So as Pope Louis XV begins his journey, the world watches with hope, with curiosity, with open hearts, and perhaps with a prayer on their lips, that this new Pope, chosen in silence and born from prayer, will be the light the world needs now. Because sometimes one gentle voice can echo across the world, and sometimes one humble leader can change the course of history. Pope Louis XV is that leader, and this is just the beginning.